Hi and welcome to Creative Motion TV with Trisha Harmon. Today our episode is going to be with the amazing artist Pamela Alderman. We're sitting in her home right here in Kentwood, Michigan, and you get to have a sneak peek at some of her artwork, what's coming up in ArtPrize 2018, along with what has been her inspiration and how it's affected so many people around the world. So stay tuned for another caffeinated episode of Creative Motion TV.
This is Creative Motion TV with Trisha Harmon, an extension of Creative Motion magazine. With each episode, I serve up an amazing blend of Christian talent from right here in the great state of Michigan. It's kind of like the extra whipped cream on your favorite caramel macchiato, without the guilt. Get ready, sit back, and drink it all in. You're going to enjoy every drop.
Pamela, welcome to Creative Motion TV. It's so great to meet you in person and have such a great conversation. But I've actually met you even on the ArtPrize floor a couple years ago. I engaged with you, and I can't imagine you ever remembering that. But this woman is an amazing woman. She's been married for 35 years, has 4 children, and has found room in her life for art again. And so I would love for you to share with our listeners just what inspired you in the beginning when you first started your artwork?
You know, it's interesting because our house was full of 4 children, so it was a bustling, lively environment. And then my 10-year-old surprised me one day. He said, "Mom, you're wasting the artistic talent that God gave you." So I just was sort of stunned by the words of a 10-year-old. It was sort of felt a little prophetic, and I thought, wow, I should really maybe give this some thought. So I found my paintbrushes, you know, in the attic or wherever they were, and dusted them off, and I started painting. At first I felt super rusty, and I had a painting mentor that would come over, and an older woman named Mercedes Ebers, and she just kept encouraging me to keep painting, and it took a couple of years until I felt confident. And then ArtPrize, right about that time, is when ArtPrize came on the scene.
And ArtPrize is now 10 years into the inception, back in 2009.
Yes.
And you have been entering your exhibits ever since then.
Yes, for 10 years I've been an ArtPrize artist. The first year I had a small start and just a little humble painting of a Japanese little girl in a gallery. I can't even remember the name of the gallery. It was very difficult to find and get to. And then each year the art just kept changing.
And there was a pivotal point, not just what you were painting, but how you were engaging with your audience. Tell us what brought that on.
Yeah, so in 2010, the second year of ArtPrize, the American Heart Association asked me to do a piece for Go Red for Women. And so I said I'd love to do a young heart survivor, so they found a young heart survivor. So I did her story, painted her portrait, and that piece was able to get into the Amway Hotel through family connections with her dad, the young woman's dad. And that was the pivotal point that then the ArtPrize audience saw it was called Woman in Red, and they saw these 3 paintings, and I had her red gown on a mannequin. And the connection of the audience just with the paintings, the story, and then this red gown that they all wanted to touch, that sort of launched this idea of this healing arts ministry, which I hadn't really recognized before.
That's wonderful. So as you are now entertaining this new venue, your places have changed too, because now you have a much more visible spot downtown, more engaging in your audience. So you've met how many people, do you think, over the years?
We estimate, so probably each year starting in 2010, maybe 50,000 to 150,000 visitors each year at our piece. So we can only measure that by how many people interact, and so maybe we can talk a little bit about that, of how the interaction just kept growing every single year. But the second year of ArtPrize, I did a piece with Metro Hospital for a young cancer survivor, another story with a woman's paintings, but this time I had an interactive healing tree. I prepared 1,500 cards thinking, okay, that's a lot. Those were gone in 2 days.
Oh, wow.
So every day my mother and husband were bringing more cards. They were getting cards for people to write the name of a cancer survivor, going to Home Depot, buying all the string on the shelf in Home Depot, the kite string. So by the end of ArtPrize, 20,000 cards were just hanging on this little tree.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That is. And then over the years, you've been in the top 50 or 20?
Well, I've kept growing.
Yeah.
With my Congolese piece, Courage Ablaze, I was in the top 100. That put me on the map for that year, and then top 50, top 25, and top 20.
And in 2015, you won 3rd place as well?
Yeah, that was 3rd place in the time-based category. So there's 4 categories, and it was 3rd place in that category.
It's wonderful. And if you have not seen, we're going to be showing many pieces throughout your history at ArtPrize. And one of my favorites is the Courage Ablaze.
Yeah.
When we look at that, it just invokes such emotion. I'm looking at one in the wall, and I just, you know, her title as an artist is hospitality artist, and it's such a beautiful expression of who you are as a person. And here we are in her home, and artwork is all around, and it's just so breathtaking to look at that and see the depth of emotion that that invokes. I can only imagine what that must have been like when it was on set at the exhibit.
Yeah, the ArtPrize. You know, the Congolese piece, again, that came from an invitation. Someone at my church invited me to do the Congolese story. I knew nothing about Congo. So sadly to say, I'm almost, you know, I regret that I didn't know a thing about Congo. I didn't even know where it was on the map. So I started out with a map to find out where was Congo. And then every day, every week, every month leading up to ArtPrize, I started watching these documentaries on Congo, and I just would be crying. And my husband would come home from work and he'd be like, "You're crying again? I'm like, these videos." And he said, "You gotta stop watching these videos. You're crying every single day." And I just got drawn into this Congolese story, the story of massive rape in Congo, and the story of genocide where millions of people, up to 8 million, are being slaughtered. And it's the news hardly gives it any attention. And I realized that while I was painting their images, because I began to know these women, they were refugees here in West Michigan that had come from Congo. They were letting me into their lives, letting me into their homes, inviting me to their parties, and it was a completely different environment for me. But as I started to paint their images, I would cry. It was one of the very unusual responses of all my paintings, but I would just start painting and I would just start crying. So I feel like tears were like embedded into the canvas. And that reaction came with the ArtPrize audience as well, with all the tears of the audience.
Yeah, you cannot move through that gallery and see the expressions and the depth of emotion without it invoking empathy and passion and compassion as well. So let me ask you just on that, as far as how, you know, maybe that was your most inspirational piece as it developed you as a woman in understanding what other women are going through every day, or is there something else that's just so, it was just so fun and just a delight for you to do?
The Congolese piece certainly spoke deep to my heart, because what I began to see is these women had been through so much, and yet they were so courageous, so strong, and I was just like, oh, if I had been raped, my husband had been killed, all my children had been killed, could I still smile, sing, and dance the way they do? So their courage, this Courage Ablaze, because I saw courage on fire in these women, so that definitely inspired me. A lot of my pieces are about serious things, so I don't know about fun in nature, but the hometown hero with the soldiers coming, the veterans, that was again a very surprising exhibit where the men got so involved in the painting, women as well, but this one's particularly the men, and how they would write a name of a soldier from their Vietnam days or their tour in Iraq or wherever, and so that was also very inspiring to see such love and commitment of brotherhood between men.
And I can't imagine how therapeutic it was for them to be able to go back and experience that and honor that person. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Isn't
that, it just gave me chills as I was thinking about, you're walking into something not knowing what to expect, and you leave changed.
They leave changed.
And inspired and thankful and grateful. I can't even imagine what this year's piece is going to bring. It's called Broken Wings.
Broken Wings.
And tell us the inspiration behind that.
You know, okay, so it's my 10th year of ArtPrize, and it's like, what am I going to do this year? And I actually had started to do another piece. I had a completely different idea, and then my mentor, about March, challenged me, late March, to think about changing the exhibit to school shooting and anti-bullying, and to discuss that publicly. And I felt compelled to do it, but it was like, wow, I'd already done my fundraising and developing the whole art piece, and I had to sort of push all that aside and sort of start over. It was a late start for me. And I had a strong emotion, though, to it because, again, you know, Columbine, I realize many of the viewers are too young to know, but in 1999, it was sort of that first big, huge school shooting where America was just sort of brought to her knees, like, wait, what's happening in our schools? And then I think the other one that really struck me was Sandy Hook, where you had 6- and 7-year-olds being gunned down at school. And I remember it came on the news, I just dropped to my knees in the kitchen and I started crying. I was just like, I can't imagine just such little children being gunned down at school. So,
And being the parent of
yeah, being the parent of children, grandparent, yes. And so, so again, there's a lot of emotion wrapped into these pieces, and that was sort of the lead up to this piece of Broken Wings.
I can imagine how that must feel as you are just living the lives, you know, vicariously through your art, but then seeing the healing and the expression of gratitude coming from those that are viewing it, saying thank you for honoring us, thank you for remembering. So tell us a little bit about the butterfly effect.
Yeah, so the butterfly effect, I don't remember how I came across the idea of making this a butterfly exhibit. Sometimes my ideas come in such random ways, but somehow I decided the butterfly. Maybe it was because of the 6-year-olds, the vulnerability, the beauty, the fragileness of childhood. And so I decided on the butterfly, and then I had to develop, well, how was I going to use that to communicate my message? And one of my friends, I think, said something about the butterfly effect. So I looked it up and I was like, oh, that's perfect. Just this starting a butterfly effect through ArtPrize, where the visitor can make a commitment by doing an interactive piece where they put a band, tie a colorful band onto the artwork. And this is just a commitment to start a positive butterfly effect, a positive action, where one action then impacts another action, and then these positive actions just keep reverberating across our world. So I thought that seemed like a beautiful way to tell this story.
That is it, because every action, every word, every attitude does have a butterfly effect.
Yes,
and so what a way to be countercultural in this day and age, to just start the tide going the other way around. And encouraging people, and that commitment right there, that they can walk away saying, I'm committed to making a difference in my world through my word choices, through my attitudes, and through the actions that I portray with other people in relationships. So that's going to be powerful. I can't wait to see it. And if you notice, the colors are vibrant. It brings life and hope and healing, and that's the whole message behind it. That's the whole purpose. So thank you. I would love to know about the interactive presence that this has caused in the world, obviously, but obviously during the 2 weeks of ArtPrize, the numbers of people and how it has affected, and what you are hearing as you are interacting with them.
The numbers of people was just like astounding. You sort of feel like you get hit by this ArtPrize tsunami of people and enthusiasm and excitement. And of course, I've been in strong venues, so that definitely helps my ArtPrize audience. So after that cancer, the cancer piece, Braving the Wind, where we ran out of cards, and then 20,000. We ended up buying and restocking every single day, and then 20,000 cards were used. So the next year, I did a piece on autism. So I thought, okay, I'm starting out with 20,000. You know,
your benchmark.
And I realized before ArtPrize was over, we were going to run out. And so my mentor just said, just let it go. It was very hard to do. And I did. And then the next morning when the cards ran out, I came back and people started taking my ArtPrize vote cards, writing their wish or prayer for a child in need, and hanging on the wall. But at first I thought it was a joke. Like I thought some teenagers started it, but when I went up to the wall to look carefully,
that's all they had.
They were actually writing their prayers on my ArtPrize vote cards.
Beautiful.
So that was amazing. So then each year we just kept buying more and more supplies because we realized my audience kept growing, and everyone's disappointed if I run out of supplies, and I don't want to disappoint them. So I just kept buying more.
Do you have a benchmark this year? Are you geared up and all stocked up?
Yes. So this year, the numbers have been different, and I try to judge according to my venue, but I also call my supplier and say, well, if I buy 50,000, you know, if I'm 3 days into ArtPrize, I'll have a pretty good idea, will I run out of supplies? So this year I bought 50,000, but then I already have an agreement with them that on the price, and if I call and I say, well, I want 10,000 more, I want 20,000 more, then yeah,
Awesome.
with fast shipping and
That's great.
yeah, so we're ready.
Isn't that crazy how we are now influencing even the Postal Service with your art? That's wonderful. So let me ask you, because you are going to be in a new venue this year. You are now going to be at the Public Museum, which is the one with the merry-go-round downtown. And so tell us exactly how this is going to be set up. Is it outside? Right. It's inside the building?
Outside.
Outside. Okay.
All these venues are learning through the years that the ArtPrize audience, I mean, it takes a lot of wear and tear in their buildings, their bathrooms, everything. So it's the museum, the Public Museum just does outside. So I'll be outside, front and center, on their sidewalk, and I'm going to have these bright green wooden cubes with these huge butterfly paintings hanging from these cubes. And then these interactive panels also connected on these cubes.
Wonderful. So you won't be able to miss it.
Yeah, super bright green.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how do you maintain the stamina? How do you endure 2 weeks of this emotional roller coaster, I'm sure, as you engage with people?
It's so hard. You know, people don't realize it. Like one of my cousins said, every time I come to ArtPrize, you're not there. I'm like, well, I did in my 8 hours, but then I went home and just crashed in my bed. So I have learned through the years that I couldn't keep up. And so my mentor also suggested get volunteers. So we started that somewhere along the line. And so we have up to like 70 volunteers now. So they all have a shift, and they all are familiar with the art, so they can guide the ArtPrize audience through the artwork. And so I take my turn, and they take their turns, and we all work together, so we're a team. And I even have one friend that flies in from the East Coast, and she'll be there like 10 days, and she's just working every single day, and she's my exhibit manager. So we kind of have this down now because we realize it's so much work because we have so many people.
Yes.
And it's interactive.
It's interactive and very demanding.
It's very demanding.
Yeah. And the ArtPrize begins September 19th.
Oh, 19th,
and runs,
yeah.
Yep, September 19th and runs through October 7th.
Right.
She'll be found at the Public Museum, right where the merry-go-round is. Yeah. You won't miss the colors. And so thank you so much. How can viewers and supporters engage with you financially if they want to give, whether it's a 501c3 type tax deductible or even as a donation?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So they can go to my website, and that's watercolorbypamela.com, and there will be a link to Patreon there where you can donate $1 a month or maybe more. And also then I have a nonprofit side, which is healingandarts.org. And there's a donation button as well. And with Healing and Arts, you can actually get a tax-deductible receipt. And then I hope to start a Kickstarter, so just watch my social media.
And we'll make sure we put all of that information at the bottom of our interview, and as well as Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, all of those social. What's your username?
It's Pamela Alderman.
Pamela Alderman.
Yeah.
So this has been beautiful. Thank you for welcoming us into your home and sharing with us this sneak peek of 2018 ArtPrize exhibit.
You're welcome.
And we're going to have fun looking at some of the other ones from the years gone by. You are now actually going through and being interviewed and kind of capturing each year that you've done this now, so that everybody can enjoy it by the year. Is that right?
Yes, and people have such an emotional attachment to specific years. They'll come back. I'll even have gentlemen, they'll wait in line to talk to me, and they'll say, well, you made me cry at this particular exhibit, and they'll want to tell me about it. So people have an attachment, this sort of fond affection for each exhibit.
Yeah, and I know I have too. Since I've talked with you once, I felt like, well, you should remember me because we really bonded. Yeah, we really bonded in that moment. So it's going to be an amazing exhibit. It's going to be a great time in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Come join us. Come out and support Pamela Alderman. And thank you for watching. We wish you well, and don't forget, fill up, and don't forget to pour out for others. Have a great day.
So, how was this broadcasting brew? Espresso style, smooth and satisfying, or not your favorite blend? Please share your comments below. Oh, and don't forget creative motion etiquette. Subscribe so your cup never runs dry. Walk around and fill up your neighbor's cup by sharing. And most importantly, always tip your servers with thumbs up. Please feel free to stop in at any of our 3 locations: MI Christian Talent Network on Facebook, Creative Motion TV channel on YouTube, and our webpage at michristiantalent.weebly.com. Till next time, keep your cup overflowing and finish strong with creative motion that excels them all.